All right, you're welcome back to the program News Hub right here on Silverbird Television and on Silverbird News 24. Let's get to the conversation this morning. But there is a proposed strike action by aviation workers. Well, a strike has actually begun for a couple of days now, grounding activities, especially at the Kano airport, where many travelers to Lagos and Abuja were unable to go about their routine aviation flights. Many of the concerns raised by the protesting workers is anti-labor laws by the Senate signed by Mr. President, asking for a reversal of such laws that would not allow them fully participate in union activities with all respects within their rights as workers within the public sector. I'll be discussing this and the importance of the new law and implications that it may have positively or negatively on the aviation sector, and if the protests from the aviation workers are legitimate. Joining us to discuss this is Comrade Francis Akinjole, who is the General Secretary of Air Transport Service Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Comrade. Comrade, thank you for joining us. I'm not sure if you can hear me. If you can, you might have to unmute your device so you can speak for us to hear.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes. Okay, I can hear you. Please confirm when you can hear me as well. Comrade? Okay, we would have to continue to check back with Comrade to know the difficulties he's having. Comrade, at some point, please ensure that you have an audio device connected to your application so that would enable you to hear from our end as much as we can hear from yours. Comrade will be joining us to discuss the implications of the strike action by the aviation workers who are looking for a reversal of a law signed by Mr. President, which they say will be infringing on their rights to labor activities at all levels. Well, Comrade.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you appropriately.
Okay.
If you hear me, I don't know. I'm not hearing what you're saying.
Okay, Comrade, I'm not sure if you're using a device, an audio device. If you are, please try to get one so that you can hear as much as we can hear you as well from this end.
I'm actually hearing you faintly now. I don't know whether you are hearing.
Loud and clear, Comrade, loud and clear. I'll probably have to project more.
Okay,
Yes, I'll have to project.
It.
Okay, so I was speaking about the protest action that has taken place in Kano State. Many travelers were left stranded at the airport on Monday and on Tuesday. What's the issue exactly? Why are aviation workers down in tools across the country? It's not a salary issue from what we are seeing, is it?
Yes. Good morning, viewers. Thank you for having me this morning. And I want to believe this invitation is based on your apprehension and concern for the country, Nigeria. We actually held a press conference on the 8th this month, that was on Thursday, where we distilled our grounds against what the powers that be intend to do against trade unionism in this country, especially in the airports. You may recall that recently there were activities towards reenacting the Aviation Agencies Act, which we participated constructively. We were invited to the public hearing in Abuja lawmakers. We discussed, but on seeing what the president has assented to in at least two of the bills, we were surprised and disappointed because some obnoxious clauses have crept into the bills, which have now become acts. And we still have, I think, about 4 pending for the presidential assent. So we felt it was necessary for us to bring this out and say no vehemently to the president giving his assent to the remaining ones. That was the reason for our protest and rally on Monday.
Okay, let's look properly into the bills now. Section 41, page 16 of the past bill provides as follows, that the minister may be by regulations prohibit all such cases or classes of workers and officers and other employees or persons, whether corporate or natural, engage in provisions of services specified in subsection 1 of this section from taking part in a strike or other industrial actions. Many would say that while we're looking for a privatization of the aviation sector, I'm sure that there has to be a time where workers demonstrating as a unit will become a concern.
Yeah, one, from what you have just read to the public, where does the power derive from? Is the Minister of Aviation the Minister of Labour that is supposed to regulate the activities of trade unions? You see, when we are trying to arrogate what is not ours to ourselves, we will create bigger problems. There is no reason to instill confusions into the administration of labor unions in this country. The Minister of Aviation doesn't have this power. And we don't know why this bill is now trying to give the Minister of Aviation the power. Secondly, the minister himself had never said he wanted to privatize anything in the aviation industry. What they are working upon was a concession. And they keep on telling us that they do not have the intention of privatizing it. So what are they afraid of? Do they want us to start fearing them?
Okay, so you're saying that, there are no plans to privatize the sector. But for us to become fully efficient and for us to probably move beyond all of the challenges that we have in the aviation sector, we have to get to that point. Are you alleging that this is a plan or a plot to move you closer to privatization?
Well, I mean, the reason why they brought in these clauses into this bill that have now become act in 2 of the aviation agencies, precisely the NCAA and the NIME, is best known to them. I believe we are not discussing privatization or concession at this forum today. What we are challenging is the power that is being taken away from the expert ministry, which is the Ministry of Labour. They understand how to relate with trade unions better than the Ministry of Aviation. So who are we going to now subject ourselves to? It will create confusion.
Right.
They don't have that power. In fact, the bill and the act that they have attempted to even grant the power to prohibit strike and whatever trade unions that run contrary to what the minister wants. We don't want this to happen in our aviation industry. And by extension, you should also remember that the creation of these clauses into our body law was a military doing. This was brought from the Trade Dispute Essential Services Act that was enshrined as a decree in 1977 and which they now make to become an act. Yes, you may say that it used to be in the Civil Aviation Act, but why are they now spreading it across all the other acts at this point in time. So I don't want to start presuming or assuming, but this cannot be made to stand the test of time.
We do know that the House of Representatives and the Senate are currently on recess. And so having an official view from them at this moment is a challenge. But many would also question as to the implications of these actions that has taken place. I'm sure hundreds of millions of naira would have been lost within the past couple of days that this demonstration started. And many Nigerians will be questioning just who is going to be feeling the effects of this action that you're taking. The people that are hoping to commute through the airports, who are finding it difficult to commute via the roads already, or the government in itself, where you're supposed to take your protest to, who has an office in the nation's capital. Have you done that?
Well, as a matter of fact, we have no intention of discomforting any Nigerian or anybody whatsoever, even foreigner. We don't have that intention, but there is an infraction. We cannot run away from that fact. Why do they want to legislate us out of existence? I mean the unions, why? And don't forget, an injury to one is an injury to all. Even if it is just one person that is affected by this law, it's as good as affecting the whole of Nigeria. Let me give you an instance. If a worker cannot express himself against any policy that is inimical to his interest, especially in the aviation industry, don't you think that that is an accident in the waiting, even in the air? If they don't allow their representatives that we have as union to speak for them, assuming their salaries are not paid, they cannot voice it out. The unions cannot agitate for the payment of their salary. What do you think will have happened to an aircraft that has even just taken off? What do you think will happen to an aircraft that has not taken off? They will take the law into their hands. This is one of those things that we are fighting against. We should not be muzzled. The union should not be gagged. They should see us as partners.
A protest to the Ministry of Aviation to press home your demands rather than, stopping Nigerians who want to travel from doing so.
Like I said, an injury to one is injury to all. The Ministry of Aviation did not make this law. We have sent our correspondences to every authority that is concerned in this matter. We've written to the National Assembly, we've written to the Ministry of Aviation, we've written to the Chief of Staff, we've written to the Secretary of the Federation. We are awaiting their response. As a matter of fact, the ministry has even invited us for Monday. And let me even remind you, sir, we have not started anything. What we did last Monday was a mere demonstration to register our protest. We have not commenced any industrial action. We empathize with those that were affected, but we want to call on every reasonable Nigeria to prevail on the National Assembly to accede to our demands, which is principally to withdraw the bills and remove this obnoxious process.
Now, talk about, the role of the aviation sector in the transportation industry. Prices of travel are increasing daily. And many Nigerians are wondering just how this is affecting the workers. How exactly is it affecting members of your union, comrade?
It's affecting us tremendously. We are even losing members. Rationalizations are taking place. Redundancy are taking place. And even to negotiate in this period of this crisis in the aviation, it is not beneficiary to the workers at all. They will always remind you that you can see what is happening. So take this. It's like take it or leave it. It's not encouraging to us at all. And this is at a time that they are even bringing more calamity upon the workers. Why? What have we done? Were we the ones that brought COVID? Were we the ones that made the getting aviation fuel go on the high? We are not. Why are we being attacked from everywhere? Nature is attacking us. Our governments are attacking us as well. What offense have we committed in the aviation industry? I'm also affected by the high cost of flying. Everybody is affected. So why are we being singled out now? We don't deserve this.
Okay, so you have given the government a 14-day ultimatum to reach out to the union. After that, if that doesn't work, if the government or the Senate fails to do so, what is the next line of action? As I said, the Senate and the House of Reps are still on recess at the moment. What happens next?
Well, we know that there are processes to follow in reversing this, but if the National Assembly considers what we have put before them as very, very important, they know what to do. They know what to do. What we are going to do is clearly stated in the text of our press briefing that failure to accede to this, we will never hesitate in commencing full-blown industrial action after the 14 days, counting from this Monday that we did our demonstration. We will come back, review it, and take the necessary action if that is what the powers that be that we refer to want.
What about the role of aviation workers in helping to curb criminality across not just Nigeria, but outside the shores of Nigeria? Recently, we do know that a staff at the Lagos International Airport was arrested by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. What is the union doing to ensure that members and, of course, other workers within the aviation sector conform with the law? And are you aiding in helping tackling such criminality within the aviation sector?
We are presently doing our utmost best. And we are of the opinion that we have plethora of laws that can be used to checkmate all these nefarious activities. It is now left on the government to do what they are supposed to do. We in the aviation unions are not unions that encourage, even trans, not to even say our members engaging in stealing or whatever. We will never condone that. There is a continuous education program that we are giving our members. And if we want to single the aviation sector out in the decadence that is prevalent in our country, I don't think that is fair. It is everywhere. There is no how you will not find one or two occurrences at times. So it's not about them being aviation workers, but anybody that is caught and due processes are followed in the investigation and trying, we don't have anything against that because we are not irresponsible unions. We are doing our best in that direction. And perhaps maybe that's the reason why you are not hearing much of these occurrences.
With all of the other matters before us, let's now circle back on the issue of protests. What you have done within the past couple of days, on Monday precisely, is probably the exact reason why there needs to be a checkmate on demonstrations and protests within industries that affect Nigerians and not the government alone. Just as we're currently having the ASU strike action now, which has taken 7 months to resolve, the aviation sector cannot afford that. In the instances of the airplane owners and the airline owners rather, who have operation licenses in Nigeria, when the laws did not favor them, they simply withdrew their services, and they stopped working. Rather than going on protest, why don't your members, if they are unhappy with the laws that are being proposed, resign and leave office? Why are you forcing Nigerians who want to take off, who their flights were meant to take off? Reports we had from Kano said that people had embarked on the planes already and were waiting to take off, but there was nobody to help guide them in the navigation. There was nobody on the runway to help guide the planes from takeoff, and they had to come off the planes again. If you're unhappy with the laws, you can resign, can't you, comrade?
Don't worry, it has not even gotten to the point of resignation for now, because resignation cannot be forced upon anybody. Like I said, our rally and demonstration of this Monday did not extend beyond that day. It was a sensitization rally, and perhaps maybe I should presume that it achieved its utmost goal.
Comrade, did you call it a sensitization rally?
And now aware of what we are facing.
Comrade, if I can hear you clearly, did you call it a sensitization rally?
I respect my empathy.
Comrade, if you can hear me, did you call Monday's demonstration a sensitization rally? If I'm not misunderstanding the words you used, you called that a demonstration or a sensitization rally rather?
Yes, that was what I said.
And so by staff who were supposed to help navigate planes being unable to do so, and workers on the runway being who were not there to help guide the planes, that was sensitization.
Yes. Now, how did you get to know? How did you get to know about what we are facing and what we are about to face? If you are not sensitized, you have been sensitized, and that is why you are interested in this discussion.
Okay.
We have not gotten, like I said, to the point of resignation. But after the 14 days, we will decide what to do.
Okay.
It may not be resignation. It may be a total withdrawal of service. And if there is a total withdrawal of services in every airport we have in Nigeria, I don't know who is going to now complain that he or she sat in the plane and the plane could not move.
Okay, so, comrade, what then is your biggest fear about this anti-labor clauses in the acts that are currently that have currently been signed by Mr. President and the ones that are yet to be signed? What is your concern about this anti-labor laws? I mean, they are not infringing on your rights of pay, on your rights of pension, on your rights of emoluments rather, while in office. All of those are still protected, but you are protesting against your rights to protest?
I'm very sorry. It appears you are missing the point. It is because of those rights that we are fighting. It is because we want guarantee for expressing our displeasure whenever it happens that they violate these rights. And this is how they come. They will come through law. And when they begin to violate all these rights now, they will cite this act as their defense. And let me remind you, there was a philosopher that said, when the people fear government, there is tyranny. And when the government fears the people, there is liberty. So which one are we going to choose? Is it tyranny or liberty? If workers' salaries are not paid, they must not protest. Is that reasonable? If the employers in the aviation industry violate the conditions of service, collective bargaining agreement that were jointly executed by workers, representatives, and the employer, and you say the union should not fight against it, and the workers cannot do this alone, they will be victimized. So are we going to slip by and wait all this to come and just go like that? In fact, the intention for having these clauses in that bill has already violated our rights. We have been assaulted.
Okay, so you are not afraid of any actions by the federal government, and the federal government has also not made any claims that you cannot go on your protest. but they are simply saying that, while you want to do that, the minister can have the powers to prevent any worker or workers who intend to stop service from going on to leave. But then that's an issue for you as well. You do not want the minister to have powers to relieve anyone of duty who refuses to perform his duties. This is what is common to everyone else who works at a private sector. We are not allowed the opportunities of a protest that you are getting, and we are all paid salaries as well. So what is this major concern that you are raising exactly, comrade?
Like I said, man cannot live on bread alone. Because you are paying us salaries, does that make us slaves? No. We shouldn't be enslaved. We shouldn't be enslaved. We are past that era, that biblical era, where it was said that when they slap you on the right cheek, you turn the other cheek. No. We know what law means. We know what act means. Even when you go to the National Industrial Force, they will cite this law and you will be, what will you do? So it's better that this does not even come up at all. Because let me even say this, if they go ahead after our series of actions, this law will never be impossible. It will never be impossible because we won't obey it. Let's be clear about that. We will not obey it.
If I'm understanding you clearly, you're saying that you disregard the law and still demonstrate, but then the minister would have the power to relieve you of your duties.
See, demonstration is a fundamental human right. It's a fundamental human right. Granted not only by our constitution, even international treaties, conventions, which Nigeria ratified. So how can you rule us out of existence? How can you legislate us out of existence? Is that move not sinister? It's a sinister move.
All right. Finally, comrade, before I let you go, we do know the cost of flight tickets across the country has skyrocketed. Whatever actions you decide to take after your 14-day ultimatum would leave more pain on Nigerian travelers, both within the country and outside the country. I'm sure there are other ways of pressing home your demands. Will you explore those other options rather than shutting down the aviation sector?
You see, even strike as it is always the last option. It's the last instrument that unions always employ. It is not in the best interest of anybody. It is not in the best interest of anybody. Whenever things like this is about to happen, it takes our positions to our employers. It is always their failure to nip it in the bud that always escalates the issues. We want to believe that this will not be like that. That will be different because we know that the minister himself is a listening minister. He has taken the first step. Like I informed you, he had invited us to the Ministry of Aviation for Monday next week, and we want to believe that the National Assembly too will rise up to their duty. Even if they are on recess, there is a lot they can do. They should commence the process. They should commence the process. And everything in the aviation industry that is on the downside, we know is not majorly because of any individual persons or group. It is a national issue. It's a national issue.
It is, and I agree with you that it is a national issue. But when you were supposed to go on this rally, as it was meant to be a rally, you didn't inform anyone that you were going to stop activities at the airport in Kano. There was no knowledge of such an action taking place. And so if you say it is the last resort, why was it the first option taken?
You see, it wasn't, I mean, unless if I want to sit here to start deceiving Nigerians, there is no how that such an action will happen that we will not have collateral damages. It is managing the collateral damages that is prevalent, and that is what we have just done. Like I said, it did not happen for more than 1 day. It didn't happen for more than 1 day. And you also agree with me that this same action took place all over Nigeria where we have the airports. So I said this severally here, that we empathize with those that were affected, and we want to believe that they are also in positions, including you. I don't know whether you are you are among those that boarded in Kano that day. Speak to the authority. Let them desist from anything that will continuously eating.
To interface on your behalf with the government, comrade, no problem. If that's the case, no problem. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning. We do hope that you can find a much more peaceful resolution with the National Assembly and, of course, the Minister of Aviation as time progresses on this particular matter. Comrade, I'm not sure if you heard what I said. I think you were referring to us to go and interface on your behalf with the government. Comrade, is that what you said? Okay, I think Comrade has left his last words on the program. Well, thank you so much for joining us nonetheless. We appreciate you, Comrade Francis Akinjole, who is the General Secretary of Air Transport Service Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, for joining us on the planned industrial action by union members of the aviation sector regarding anti-labor laws said to have been included in the